All right, so 2 weeks ago, when we started our series on the where we got the Bible, we're talking about the materials in this lesson that were used to preserve ancient writings. We take for granted, I was saying just before I started, I have my iPad and it was charged at 2%, and so I wasn't going to be able to use it for this class because the battery would have died, and so I had to go and get my paper copy of the Bible to be able to use it. We take for granted we have everything at our fingertips, and people didn't always have it that way. And there were different materials that we used to convey information, to store information, and some of those materials had their advantages, and some of them had their disadvantages. And so question 2, which is on the back, which is what we're going to be answering, deals with what we're asked: what were some of the main materials used in ancient time for writing, and which material was the most important for the Old Testament? And so I did go through some of that in your notes, but when you think of writing, when you think of old writing, what is some of the oldest forms or materials that man used for writing? Yeah. Stone. All right. We'll get with papyrus in a second, but stone is often what we think of. When I was young, I used to watch the Flintstones. And I know that's even older than me because I know that was from like the 50s. But that's what they used. Everyone wrote on stone. We often think of the Stone Age. Oh, that's a very old, long time ago. But Hammurabi's Code, which actually looks awfully similar to the Ten Commandments, was written on stone. And the Bible talks about things being written on stone. We'll come to Naomi. We'll get 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 20.
We use that expression today.
Yeah.
It's not written in stone.
We're not written in stone, yeah.
Or it is written in stone.
Yeah, as it's sure. It's that's what the phrase means. It's guaranteed. If it's written in stone, it's going to happen. You can't change what's written in stone. There's no eraser, no backspace button. If it's written in stone, it's there. But if it's not written in stone, that means I can change it. 2 Kings 20:20, and Kala can get 2 Chronicles 32:30. 2 Kings 20, verse 20.
The rest of the deeds of Hezekiah and all his might, how he made the pool and the conduit, broke and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah?
And while you say, well, that doesn't talk about things being written in stone, there are copies of stone from some of the inscriptions from the days of Hezekiah. 2 Chronicles 32, verse 30. 32? Yes. 32, verse 30.
The same Hezekiah also stopped the upper water course of Gihon and brought it straight down to the west side of the city of David, and Hezekiah prospered in all his works.
Okay. And so this tunnel that Hezekiah built, it still exists today, by the way. You can still find it in Jerusalem. It's in the old parts of the city. It's not functioning, I don't believe, for the same purpose, but you can go and visit. It's still there. And so the peoples at this time would engrave things in stone. A rather famous stone from the Moabite times, like from the Moabite country, has been found near the east of the Dead Sea. Now it recounts a revolt against Israel that mentions Jehovah or Yahweh. We're not going to read it because it'll take us too much time. But on your own time, if you read 2 Kings 3, verses 4 through 27, the Moabite stone is recounting the Moabite account of that battle. And of course, it does match with what the scriptures tell us, because remember that was when King Joram and fought against the Moabites who had been rebelling, and there was this great battle, and in the end of that battle, the Moabites sacrificed their children to Molech, and that became a great abomination, and Joram had to withdraw because of that. And Elijah had prophesied against him on that as well. And so we need to remember, things were not written on paper then. It was written in stones. What was the most famous piece of the Bible that we know was written on stone? The Ten Commandments were written on stone. So we'll go to Gord to get Exodus 31, verse 18. Jeff, Exodus 34, verses 1 and 28. And Sandra, Deuteronomy 10, verses 1 through 5. Exodus 31, verse 18.
And when he had made an end of speaking with him on Mount Sinai, he gave Moses 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone written with the finger of God.
Okay, so the tablets of stone. Exodus 34, verses 1 and 28.
The Lord said to Moses, cut 2 tablets of stone like the first one, and I will write on these tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke.
And verse 28.
So he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor drank water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments.
Okay, so we have of course, Moses destroying the first, and this is one of the problems with stone. You break it, now you don't have what was written on it. Every mode of, or every material that we can write on can be destroyed. Stone can be destroyed, just throw it down and it breaks. And so if something's written on stone and you break it, now you need to replace it.
Yes, the first one was written with the finger of God, which took nothing in effort of God.
Yeah.
But Moses took him 40 days to...
Yeah, well, he was there, and you had, and you think about having to write on stone. You have to have a chisel. You have to first of all prepare the rock. Like, you have to have a surface that's able to be written on. Rock is not like paper where it's just flat. You have to prepare the rock. You're going to have to chisel out. You're going to have to have a large enough piece that you can write on, because it'll look probably very similar to the way children write when they're learning to write, very big. So you have to have a large enough space. You have to chisel it out, and then you have to chisel. Bill.
It shows, really, doesn't it, how concerned God was for man, because he used stuff that they knew about at that time, stuff that they used.
Yeah.
You know, like stone for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we got technology.
Yeah, we do, and yet we still write on stone.
Well,
You think about it. You think about tombstones. That's the stone.
But we have easier tools.
We have easier tools to do it. Yes, you're right. But one of the benefits of stone is it is durable in the sense of it can last longer. You expose it to the elements. You expose it to rain, which, if it has any acid in it, can work away at the rock. And you go to some cemeteries, you can say, well, it used to have writing on it. Doesn't anymore, but it used to have writing on it. But the acid rain has whittled away at the rock, or aging has whittled away at the rock. And so it's not a perfect medium. But it doesn't burn like paper does. It doesn't get corrupted with computer viruses like some of our digital stuff can. So it's very durable. It's very good, but it is susceptible just to breaking. Jeff.
Sometimes we look at things from our own perspective, and stone work and stone chiseling is very common.
No, not anymore.
No, but with them, that may have been one of their. They only had so many materials to work with.
Yeah.
They may have been quite That stonework.
Well, I'm pretty certain they were. And when you think about it, stonework didn't require heat. You want to work with gold, you want to work with silver, you want to work with bronze, you require heat to be able to do that. And and that, of course, requires a lot more materials. Whereas with stone, if you can find the materials, and all you need is a pointed chisel and a mallet to work the stone. It's a craft. It's not like anyone can just get up and do it, because it won't look good. But Gord was saying with the finger of God, it's not going to be any effort to him. But God used the medium that the people had. He didn't create computers for the Israelites. They didn't have that. If God was giving us a law today, it would be written in the medium that we have. And God has always dealt with his people where they are, and used the materials that they know. Deuteronomy 10, verses 1 to 5. And that's Sandra, I think.
At that time the Lord said to me, hew for yourself 2 tablets of stone like the first, and come up to me on the mountain, and make yourself an ark of wood. And I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablet, which you wrote, and you shall put them in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood, hewed 2 tablets of stone like the first, and went up the mountain, having the 2 tablets in my hand. And he wrote on the tablets according to the first writing, the 10 Commandments, which the Lord had spoken to you in the mountain, from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them to me. Then I turned and came down from the mountain, and put the tablets in the ark which I had made, and there they are, just as the Lord commanded.
And it was verse 5 that I was really wanting us to see, because verses 1 to 4 was similar to what Jeff read in Exodus 34. But they were kept in the Ark of the Covenant. People ask, where are the 10 Commandments today? Where's the Ark of the Covenant today? Top men must have it, according to Indiana Jones, but it's gone. You get tablets of stone, they can be lost. But they were kept. The children of Israel could have it. And they did. Now, it wasn't just the 10 Commandments, though, that were going to be put on stone. Once they got into Israel, they were to write them again. And we'll just read about that in a second, but Gord had something first.
Yeah, and so according to that passage that we just read, God wrote the second one.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
I thought it maybe Moses, based on the one scripture, that he had to recreate them because he wrote them. But
No.
God did that.
God did both of them, and that way we know the accuracy of them. Because it wasn't, that's just Moses. That was just Moses writing. He didn't really mean keep the Sabbath, or he didn't really mean don't bear false witness. That must be something else. No, God wrote it. But you might think, okay, the 10 Commandments were in the Ark of the Covenant. How was the regular person going to know what the 10 Commandments said? Because not even the high priest could go and approach the Ark of the Covenant every day. Oh, I forget what the second commandment is. Let me go look at the Ark of the Covenant and the 10 Commandments. No, they couldn't do that. So there had to be copies someplace. And even God provided for that. We'll get Tammy, Deuteronomy 27, verses 2 and 3, and Bill, Joshua chapter 8, verse 22.
And it shall be on the day when you cross over the Jordan to the land which the Lord your God is giving you, that you shall set up for yourselves large stones, and whitewash them with lime. You shall write on them all the words of this law when you have crossed over, that you may enter the land which the Lord your God is giving you, a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord God of your fathers promised you.
Joshua 8:22.
Then the others came out of the city against them.
Is that the wrong?
In the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side.
Yeah.
They struck them down so that they let none of them remain or escape.
I don't know if that's the verse I was wanting. Yeah, no, it's not. It isn't. It is probably Joshua 5. Or anyway, if I'll find where that was, I think. Let's see. Someone can go searching in Joshua. It's somewhere around after maybe Joshua. They come. It's when they come to Shechem that they come and get that, and so it's a matter of where it is. 832.
Well, that's where he wrote on the stone.
Okay, can you get that for me then? That's what it is then.
And there in the presence of the children of Israel, he wrote on the stone a copy of the law of Moses, which he had written.
Okay, and that's what I was wanting. And so instead of 32, I put 22. So you can correct that in your notes. So Joshua 8:32. So God had told Israel, when you go into the land, you're going to set yourself stones and you're going to write the law on them. So anyone could consult the law of God. It was not this secret that nobody could know. Oh, it was in the Ark of the Covenant. I can't remember. No, they were set up and they did it. They wrote the law there. They whitewashed them so that they could be protected and they could see the law if they wanted it to. If they wanted to. It was there. They should know what it said. So the stone was used by the people at that time. This is about 1400 BC. Stone wasn't the only thing that could be used, but it was very durable. The problem with stone, though, what is, besides the fact that it can be broken, what's a problem writing with stone?
It's heavy.
Heavy?
You move anywhere or wherever, you take it with you.
Yeah.
You can't just put it in your back pocket.
No, can't carry it around in your back pocket. It's very heavy.
When you're writing on stone, languages have little tiny marks, and some can be hard to see the difference. So maybe that would be a problem.
That could be a problem as well. Like as far as if you're not, like as far as we can do that today, where if you don't have the tail on something, could like on a P or a B or a D, like as far as you could have issues with that if it's not carved properly. Jeff.
You would definitely want your language to be brief.
Yes.
Because 300-page novel on stone would be
Yeah. Pretty tough. That's why Ten Commandments written on stone. 10 basics, the basics of the law. There was more to the law than that. And the book of the law wasn't written, Deuteronomy wasn't originally written on stone. Or like the entire law. Parts of it were. But as Jeff said, you are going to not have long novels written on stone. Not unless you want to sit there for a long time chiseling. Jeff.
I did notice the times where I looked through the Hebrew language of the Old Testament, comparing it to the English, just in the characters,
Yeah.
there's often 2 or 3 English words for a single word.
Yeah.
It's like English is a bit wordy compared to like, why do they only need a couple words when
Yeah.
they need 6 of them to
Well,
explain something?
Well, Well, I'm saying I look at Mandarin, and so Tim does our YouTube titles along with everything, and so our YouTube titles, YouTube only allows 100 characters in a title, and sometimes my titles can be about 80 characters. I give Tim the same title, and it's like 20 characters, 25 characters maybe, and so obviously in Mandarin, the characters themselves are going to cover a lot of English words in that translation. Now, there might be a couple times where the English word's one and maybe the Mandarin is a couple characters. More often than not, the Mandarin's shorter. And for titles, at least. Now, you can ask Henry and Tim more about that if you want to learn more about that. But that's what I've noticed from just copying and pasting things on YouTube is the Mandarin titles are shorter. even though when I put them into Google Translate, they say the exact same thing. And so it's interesting that way. But stone, you have those issues. Portability is one of the major issues with writing in stone. You can't carry your house with you. If you've carved something into the house, it's staying if you move.
Well, the whole Bible we had today, written in stone.
Oh.
To move it, you need several convoys.
Yeah, and that's just for one copy.
Yeah.
You think about that. Just one copy. So to get multiple copies requires a lot of stone, requires a lot of stonemasons to be able to do it. And so that we don't carve in stone today has a lot to do, not with, oh, they were so primitive. No, we have different writing tools that are able to suit our needs better. Which moves us on to the next one, which was clay, or what we might call pottery. And so even the Bible speaks of clay tablets or clay writings. Clay was common in Mesopotamia. You could take mud, clay mud, dry it out, and you can write on it. You can paint on it. And people used it. It was available. There was mud there. All right, there's mud, and I can dry it out, and I can write on it. Why am I going to have all these big, heavy stones when I make something in clay? I can now have it in my house. Ezekiel chapter 4, we'll get Phoebe to get Ezekiel 4, verse 1, and Dion can get Jeremiah 32, verse 14. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 1. Okay. Now, does anyone know about what years the book of Ezekiel covers? Because Moses was back in the 1400s BC. Ballpark guess. I won't chastise you if you're wrong. Ballpark it. Something BC, we know that. About what year Ezekiel covers in BC, do we know? All right, 400 years, that's Malachi to Christ. So we know it's before that. Ezekiel was at captivity, before captivity, or after captivity? Yeah, 1 in 3 chance. Well, Ezekiel lived at the beginning of the captivity, but the book covers the captivity. Ezekiel was in the second wave of captives. So when Jerusalem fell to Jehoiachin and Zedekiah was taken off, we have Daniel taken off in the first wave of captives. The book of Daniel covers the period from 606 or 605 to about, well, it covers all the way to the end of the captivity, but the beginning chapters cover till about 597 BC. Well, Ezekiel covers the period between 597 and about 590 BC. And so that's when the prophet Ezekiel was prophesying. And yet here in Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 1, God didn't tell Ezekiel to come and get stone. They might have used stone then for some things. But they're in captivity here. They're not going to live here forever. Take clay. Clay could be transported. You would get clay tablets that would be written in wedged shaped letters. You see, the language has changed. It can be more intricate when you don't have to chisel in stone. Going to Aidan's point, language, you had to have it so the characters could be etched in the stone. Not a lot of rounded characters when you have to etch in stone, because it's very hard to round things when you're chiseling out. There's a lot of pointed right angles, clear angles when you're writing in stone. Now, when you paint, when you can have a brush, or you can write a little bit more intricately. Language changed. You think about having to write our letters in stone without the computer, lasers, and other things that we use to etch in stone today. That's why capital letters, when you take a look at it, are a lot more blocky than lowercase letters. A lot of our lowercase letters are very round. And so when you get on these more durable materials, your letters can get more intricate. And you can write a lot more. Gord, did you have something? Oh, I thought you had something. I thought you were saying, all right. But so basically what happened was these tablets could be stored in archive rooms and in libraries. They could be in baskets. They could be in clay jars. Jeremiah 32, verse 14. Oh, are you there, Dion? Jeremiah 32, verse 14.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, take these evidences, this evidence of the purchase, both which is sealed, and this evidence which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, that they may continue many days.
And the point I had is clay tablets, earthen vessels were used to store things. You think about it, clay can, opposite of, like stone is very durable. What can happen to clay if you, like hardened clay, like if you're not careful with it? It can break, and it can break a lot easier than stone does. Stone you can shatter. But if you drop it, you'll probably just chip it. Whereas if you drop a clay, it's like dropping glass. Now, the better you've made it, the less it may chip. But you drop clay off of a table, and you can shatter it. Now, it's easier to replace, but it can be shattered. Clay was used as far back as 2400 BC. And so the chronicles of a number of the kings in the Old Testament, such as Sargon, Sennacherib, Ashurbanipal, they're found on clay tablets. You take the clay, you'd write in it while it was soft, you'd harden it, and basically you have an engraving now that can last. I think you still have something you made in like grade 1 or 2 in clay. Like they did that. That was part of their thing, and that's exactly what they did. They drew something on it, then the clay hardened, and that's how it's done. It's not chiseled. It's a lot. When the clay is soft, it's very malleable. You can write in it very easily, and when it hardens, though, it can't be changed. That's one of the uses of clay. Is okay. I can't take an eraser to it. I can't take a backspace key to it. You can paint it to protect it. You can glaze it to protect it against the elements. But clay was very common because you could have mud. The types of soil that's there really was advantageous to doing that. And so, some advantages of clay versus stone. Bill?
Well, that verse even says that it'll last many days.
Yeah.
It lasted for 70 years of captivity.
Yeah. We still have Ezekiel. Well, Jeremiah's before the captivity, yeah. And Ezekiel was further on in. But so it lasts. You think about rocks are going to be outside. We said the elements can eventually get to stones. Erosion happens. We see it today. Go to a cemetery and look at the old tombstones. And you're going to find that what was written on them is fading away. And eventually the stone you will not be able to read what the stone says because it has faded away. The stone goes into the elements, and that's what happens. Whereas clay, you can bring inside. Doesn't always have to be in the elements. And so we have that as a benefit. What are maybe some of the disadvantage of clay? Pardon me? It's easy to break. That's certainly something.
Still bulky.
It
Not as bulky as stone.
but yeah.
Still, you want a lot of things recorded.
Yeah.
It's going to take up a lot of space.
Yeah, and again, you can't. Going to Jeff's point, you still aren't going to have an entire Bible written in clay. Not unless you want many shelves to store things on. That's why when you go back and you find artifacts from that time period, you're not finding large sections of Scripture. There's fragments here. There's fragments there. And so when there's fragments here, fragments there, that's what we get. It's not that they were lazy. They would take what they wanted copied. They would copy it, and you would have it. And so when you do have that, then you have wars come through, going to destroy it, and you're going to get a fragment here, a fragment there. But clay is better than stone if you're wanting portability. Maybe not as good as stone if you're wanting longevity, but it's certainly going to be very good for longevity as well, though. We can go through the next one pretty quickly. The next one is wood and wax. This is referred to in the Old Testament. We'll come to James, Numbers 17, verses 2 and 3, and then come across to Abigail, Ezekiel 37, verses 16 and 17. Numbers 17, verses 2 and 3.
Speak to the people of Israel and get from them staffs, one for each father's house, from all of their chiefs according to their fathers' houses. 12 staffs. Write each man's name on his staff. And write Aaron's name on the staff of Levi. For these shall be one staff for the head of the father's house.
All right, these staffs would be made of wood. And you can carve in wood. We do that today too. My uncle is a great carver. My grandfather carved in wood. And you can do some intricate things in wood. It's more malleable than stone. You still have to chisel it away. You still have to be really good at that. But you can work in wood. And they would write the names. This is when Israel was rebelling against Moses as to who would lead them. And this was the way God proved to Israel that it was Moses and Aaron he selected. It was Aaron's rod that budded here. This is the account of that. But wood was used. Ezekiel 37, verses 16 and 17. And that's Abigail.
As for you, son of man, take a stick for yourself and write on it for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write on it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions.
Again, we have writing on wood being mentioned here. So what happened was a whitened board was sometimes used in Roman and Greek times for public notices. It's where we get the word album from. It's from this type of thing. So wooden tablets often had an inlay of wax added to that you could write on and even erase as needed. And so when you think of wood, wood is readily available. Trees are everywhere. You can take a branch. If you're wanting us to write on a staff, you can cut down a tree, make a waxy inlay that you can use, and you can reuse the wax. And so you can see that even in the old days, you'd have notice boards. And so we're getting better instruments to write with and to write on. Now, wood can burn. And so you have, you can heat clay up, and once it's hardened, though, it's really hard to just burn. Stone doesn't burn, it shatters. Wood can burn. Wax can melt away. And so you add a little heat to it. Maybe it's a little bit of a disadvantage, but again, wood is much easier than stone to chisel in. And it doesn't, and because it's easier, you can, again, get language changing a little bit. And if we're writing in wax, you now have the ability to change what was written, which is an advantage. You make a mistake, you don't have to go get a new piece of stone, a new piece of clay. You can just erase it and write it again.